And welcome back to the Homemade Podcast of Sports with your host, Jay Pops. Guys, today's date is April 5th. If I'm not mistaken, hold on, let me check that just to be sure. Today is April 5th, 2022. I have a very, very special guest on here on the live stream, Mr. E. Crenshaw. Man, we have not caught up in a very, very long time, but hey, now we're here. We're here. We're going to get into some things. It sounds like spring practice has been going pretty good. It sounds like the number one receiver that I wanted anyways is doing pretty good. Oh, Mr. Evan Stewart. Sounds like Connor Wingman has been ripping up the quarterback, the quarterback competition lately. And man, look, it sounds like it's a whole lot of things going on in College Station, which brings me to this here. The pressure is now on at Texas A&M University. The pressure is on now, baby. So now it's either you get it or you don't. There's no excuses going forward, man. Jimbo Fisher knows this. His kids know this. The coaching staff knows this. College Station knows this. All right, so let me bring in old Mr. E. Crenshaw. He's going to start it off. And, man, we're going to get into some things. So, guys, sit back. In the famous words of Lane Kiffin, in which is, I guess, starting to become one of Jimbo Fisher's rivals. Get your popcorn ready. You know, so we're going to sit back and we're going to say some things because guess what? We ain't done yet. So, Mr. E, go ahead and take over, man.
Yeah, man, I know the topic of discussion is no excuses or whatever, but man, I'm just excited for the season. I don't really like last year. I don't really got a lot to say. I mean, take a look at the depth chart, top to bottom, quarterback room, probably the best quarterback room in the country. You got everybody talking about A&M. I mean, the D-line that we have is okay. Last year, I think we kind of struggled with the rushing attack. We gave up a lot of gashing plays in the run game. But I think that we adjusted and made some changes there as far as personnel. So we got some guys that's gonna make some serious noise. Mm-hmm. Receiver room, we lost Demas. We got a lot of guys coming in there. I'm anxious to see Moose Muhammad. I think he'll have a breakout year. I got Evan Stewart being a 1,000-yard receiver, whether you believe it or not. And then you move over to the offensive line. We got two starters that started as freshmen. They're coming back. Uh-huh. Then you throw in the Hall there, and then you got Big Cam Dewberry coming in. Hopefully, I'm hoping he'll start. Get us some meat up there. We got a block now.
Right.
Like I said, we covered quarterbacks. We go to running backs. Still think we got one of the best running backs in the country, if not the best running back in the country. I do see Achane being a Heisman contender. And defense, we got corners, we got safety, we got backers, we got punter, we got a kicker. Kicker's a 5-star. I mean, we have zero excuses. Now it's time to put it all together and eat.
Right. And of course, man, let's talk about, the obvious and, the elephant in the room. The number one signing class. All right. Okay. The best signing class of all time. We have that. Like you say, it's no more excuses. The pressure is on now. From my understanding, everybody loves to bring up these statistics. Well, everybody that's had the number one recruiting class, they've all won national title. Or they have at least gotten to the national title game. You know what I mean? But once again, from my understanding, everybody who has had the number one recruiting class, they are put in a spot, a legitimate good spot, to win a national title in the next, I think, 2 to 3 years out.
Yeah,
that has been everybody. Although I do not like this team that I'm about to mention, they too have had the number one signing class when they signed Vince Young. Now, a lot of those guys would tell you otherwise, and that class went all that. That is a lie. I'm going to tell you this once again. That is a lie. They had the number one signing class that year. Yes, 247 wasn't around that year. I don't believe I believe it was more of the rival thing, but they too had the number one signing class and they won national title. Of course, a lot of people are going to tell you, well, A&M, A&M just haven't done it since 1939. Man, I've heard that so many times, man. But once again, the pressure is on. We have each and every position filled. Do we have enough old linemen to where when they get potentially hurt, knock on plastic here. I'm not hoping anyone gets hurt, but will others step up into the role if someone gets hurt and play lights out? You know what I mean? So that is the only position in which I'm actually concerned in.
Yeah.
So far as quarterback, man, I believe that Jimbo Fisher has went out and he's gotten the best of the best. As of right now, he has 1 5-star, which is Connor Wingman, freshman. He has 2 4-stars on a team, which is Haynes King, and the other is oh man, how am I just gonna forget his name just like that?
Max Johnson.
Wow, Max Johnson, and you know what I was about to say, Jake Johnson, but I'm thinking about his brother.
That's a dog.
So now we have Max Johnson, Haynes King, and also Connor Wing. Like I said once before, to my understanding, all 3 of these guys have been falling out in spring practice. That's why I said I'm not worried about the quarterback room. I already know who's going to be that day one starter, in my opinion, because I feel like Jimbo Fisher is a player's coach. We all know this, and this is probably one of the reasons why it's a lot of people that it's kind of that has a real problem with Jimbo Fisher when he coaches. He's more of a player's coach. So it kind of looks like he caters to the ones that are, projected to leave early for the NFL. So he does his best to help their draft stock, and he does his best to help them develop in a way to where they'll be in that first through 3 rounds. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It you can always go, both sides with a player coach, but I trust in Jimbo Fisher to make the right decision, in which I think it's going to be Haynes King as a starter come day one. I honestly believe that Haynes King has unfinished business. I do not believe that Haynes King is going to let up in his practice, regardless if you're hearing about him or not. I don't believe he's going to let his leg up. I believe he's going to keep his leg down, his thumb, and he's going to compete. You know what I mean? You actually have to beat me out. You got to beat me out. You got to be the most talented, or like you say, or you got to take it. So the defensive line, I don't think anybody in the country is worried about A&M's defensive line at this point.
They should be.
I mean,
they should not be.
Yeah, because man, we have
bodies
so
on
much.
Bodies. We got bodies on bodies.
Goodness. And then we just added another. So it's like, who's worried about the defensive line at this point? Linebackers, okay, that kind of worries me. But
I wouldn't say. I mean, because that's Jimbo's thing. I remember him saying in a couple games last year.
Yeah.
The front end that plays a big part in the linebackers. If you're not staying in your lanes, if you ain't staying fit, you got the lineman, they slide off to the back, of the blocker get turned out. All it takes is a nudge to knock a backer off his spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we got I think as far as sideline to sideline, we got Edgerrin Cooper. I'm telling you now, Edgerrin Cooper will be an All-American. The kid, I mean, there was so many plays last year that he made the hit, but he just didn't wrap up and make the tackle. I know against Auburn, he hit Bo Nix and he kind of shifted under, and somebody else came up and made a play. And then I think at Ole Miss, it was a couple big hits. He made the initial hit, but he didn't wrap up. But I see him being a monster at backer. And then you throw in White, and there was another kid that came in this year. The kid, what's his name?
Talking about a linebacker came in this class.
Linebacker. He was in this class.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's him. I think he'll be on the field earlier. I think he'll be on the field sooner than later.
Yeah, because I think man, me and you was talking about this, of course, not on the podcast. Me and you were exchanging text messages and and phone calls and things, man. We talked about this. We say, man, we could be looking at something to where Texas A&M defensive line staff, as well as DJ Durkin, will be the first of many, many defensive coaches that has this many defensive line recruits and this big of a defensive line depth chart, to where they're going to just annually rotate with a first team, a second team, third team, fourth team, and they're going to do it all 4 quarters. So I know it's a lot of people saying, "Oh man, that transfer portal is going to be heavy." It can't be heavy when you're rotating that many groups. They're not just going to do one by one. Once again, I believe that this defensive staff will be the first ever to do this heavy of a rotation. And of course, it will continue to trend all throughout college football.
Yeah.
And
they're setting the bar.
Yeah, they're setting the tone, setting the bar, and they're setting something brand new out there, just as well as the spread offense, because it wasn't air raid. You know what I mean? So let me get that to an understanding. What Lincoln Riley did at Oklahoma was change the bar so far as a offensive skill set personnel group is concerned. He didn't do an air raid. He just done a simply spread offense. And that translated throughout the whole Big 12 until, credit is due to Lincoln Riley and to the whole entire college football world caught up. The only problem is that he wasn't the only blue blood program that continued to do it once it caught up. It caught up to the Alabamas of the world. It caught up to the Ohio States of the world. And that's where it became really dangerous. And it was where you had to get a lot of defensive backs. You now had to get a lot of defensive linemen so you can get to the quarterback. And you had to get other things. So this is why, like I say, I believe also, and we didn't talk about this, but I believe also this will be the first time where it will be a heavy rotation, where it's going to be 3 groups of defensive backs.
Oh, yeah.
Into the game, all 4 quarters. When I tell you that everybody is going to get somewhat of an equal amount of reps on defense, people have to believe us when we say this. They will get an equal amount of reps. Yeah, I know Lane Kiffin hurry-ups and does the hurry-up offense. That's fine with me. But if they're going to allow, quote-unquote, faking injuries, then, hey, it is what it is. Until the referee stepping in and do something about it, until the head coaches step in the conferences and do something about it, it's not going to stop. So, like I say, man, you're looking at 4 groups annually rotate. So
we're gonna be a force to be reckoned with.
And we are. And
I had one question for you.
Yep.
I know I think a lot of people probably out there got this question. Who pushed 88 out?
So what's crazy is that when I read an article, it said that Baylor Cook was actually on the starting lineup. I'm not very sure of why he left. But it was nobody that pushed him out. Now that I'm glad you asked me that question, but it was nobody that pushed him out. However, I did hear that Max Wright was starting to shine a little bit more than what he was supposed to at that actual position. The reason being is because Jake Johnson hasn't practiced that much in the spring game. Guys, I believe that we lost OE there. Of course, I'm still recording, but I believe, but to answer this question and things like that until he comes back on. But to answer this question, Max Wright was starting to get more shine than anything. But also, like I say, Jake Johnson hasn't even much been practicing like that. It was another one that was out there. Donovan Green isn't even on campus yet. Theodore Ostrom, I believe he's just now getting there. So it's a lot of things that may have been played out in the background that led up to Baylor Cook's decision. I'm not sure of what may have happened there, but it's a lot of things, like I say, that led up into Bailey Cups' decision. Now I hate that that happened, but I mean, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. Um, the floor for this team, and somebody on Twitter had brought this up, and I want to acknowledge him, before I do anything else and go off of here. But I do want to acknowledge him. His name is Freddie Bowie, I believe. That's his name. His name is Freddie Bowie. He's on Twitter. Uh, Frederick Bowie, Frederick Bowie or Bowie. I think that's how you pronounce it. But he's on Twitter. Um, he annually, comments on everything and stuff like that. He is a big A&M fan as well. But he was saying that the floor for A&M was 10-2. I honestly agree with that. I do not believe in the 9-3 BS. I definitely don't believe in the 8-4 BS. But I believe 10-2 is the floor. Of course, undefeated is the ceiling. 11-1 is the margin in between. Now, who will be the two losses if it's 10-2? Number one is Alabama. All right, let me go ahead and just make that clear. I'm not scared to admit that. Number one is Alabama. Number two, I find that very, very hard to find the number two team. I don't know who will be the second team because we're better than all of these teams I'm about to name on the schedule, except for one, which is Alabama. So we're better than Sam Houston State, better than Appalachian State, better than Miami, better than Arkansas. But then again, that may be the number two right there if it's 10-2. But I no. Mississippi State will way more better than them, but Mississippi State just always gives us a game for some reason. Alabama, like I say, Alabama will that will be the only loss that I can see. South Carolina is the one that I need you guys to really, really pay attention to. South Carolina scares me because South Carolina and Shane Beam over there is kind of building something. And if you take them lightly, I believe that they will come out and beat you. Okay, I believe they're ready to come out and shock the world. But then again, it won't be a shocker because they have Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is still a darn good quarterback. He just didn't work out at Oklahoma. That's the only one that scares me, and we play in South Carolina this year. All right, so South Carolina's had a circle for many years. They haven't won a game against us yet. That scares me when your undefeated streak is on the line like that. All right, Ole Miss, I'm sorry, man. Ole Miss didn't scare me this year. They come to Kyle Field. Kyle Field will be sold out. We're ready for Lane Kiffin because Lane Kiffin has just been talking this much noise. And I believe that we're going to beat them. I believe that we're going to beat them like the stove something. Florida doesn't scare me. They come back to Kyle Field once again. Now, Auburn may be a rough one because we don't know what Zach Calzada will get. And if we walk in that game undefeated, Auburn will try to beat us very badly. UMass, no. LSU doesn't concern me because Jimbo Fisher is undefeated at home against LSU. That's just that. So I believe that this team can go undefeated in the regular season and make their way to the SEC title game. It's just all about can they live up to the hype and can they live up to the pressure because the pressure's on. That is all that I have for you guys on today. Like I say, I will most likely probably come back out with another one with Eric on tomorrow so we can talk a little bit more. And we can continue to go on these things. But I love all of you guys. #GigaMags.